You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WXCO Daily News Roundup for Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 FM and 1230 AM in Wausau.
For WXCO News, I'm Brittany Merlot. In the wake of the mass layoffs in the federal government, the governor announced an effort to recruit some of those displaced workers into state government.
Do I think that they should have been laid off or fired without any forethought? It just kind of went, boop, here we go, you're fired, don't know why. That's unfortunate, very unfortunate. But if we have jobs that are open that they can compete for, let's have it.
He announced a series of job fairs, and there are 8 virtual events this month to help find workers in key fields like healthcare, engineering, and law enforcement.
And they were doing good work. And so to me, they're just taking a sledgehammer to make a point, which is really unfortunate.
The virtual events are free, and you can register for it on the DWD website. Evers said that he hopes the recruitment effort brings talented workers to state government and communities in Wisconsin.
We know they're good workers, and we always have vacancies in state government. We want to make sure that they have a good landing place.
And if you're considering a change in career, there are job openings in medical fields. Joanne Krulotz tells us more.
About 9% of Wisconsin hospital jobs are vacant. That's according to a newly released report by the Wisconsin Hospital Association. Job vacancies are down from nearly 10% a year ago, but Wisconsin's workforce shortage remains a challenge as baby boomers retire and increase the demand for health care. The report recommends expanded health care career pathway programs, more flexible reimbursement models, and technology support for telehealth monitoring and home care. Certified registered nurse anesthesiasts have the highest vacancy rate, followed by surgical technicians, respiratory therapists, advanced practice nurses, and certified nursing assistants. The vacancy rate for registered nurses, who make up about half of the hospital workforce, is 9.1%.
A statewide search for a teen that turned into a nationwide hunt has ended. Stuart J. Waddles has more.
The missing Beaver Dam girl has been found. 17-year-old Sophia Franklin has been found safe after disappearing in February. It led to an Amber Alert that covered Wisconsin, Arkansas, and Missouri. Police arrested 40-year-old Gary Day, an Arkansas man accused of abducting Franklin and fathering her unborn child. Day faces charges of child abduction and enticement as the investigation continues.
And Attorney General Josh Cole is urging consumers to check their eligibility for compensation for certain generic drug purchases. Joanne Krulotz reports.
Attorney General Call and the Multi-State Coalition previously announced the settlement in principle with the Apotex last fall, along with a $10 million settlement with Heritage Pharmaceuticals. At the time of that announcement, the settlement with the Apotex was conditioned on the signatures of all necessary states and territories. Those signatures have been obtained, and the coalition has filed the settlement in U.S. District Court for the District of Connecticut and Hartford. If you purchased a generic prescription drug listed between 2010 and 2018, you may be eligible for compensation.
And NOAA just launched a new satellite out into orbit today, one that circles the Earth at the same speed that it rotates, allowing it to stay fixed on a certain area. The satellite will monitor the weather across the Atlantic and a majority of North and South America. Called the GO-16, it'll be on orbit for a solid 7.5 years. And it'll become the primary source of weather satellite imagery over our part of the world. This was the final satellite of the current GOES-R series. The next generation constellation, WXCO, isn't slated to launch until the mid-2030s. The Milwaukee Elections Commission is apologizing. Stuart J. Waddles tells us more.
Milwaukee's spring election Tuesday saw historic voter turnout, leading to ballot shortages at 8 polling locations. The Election Commission sent out a statement yesterday acknowledging the delays and inconvenience. Some voters waited for hours for ballots and others left without casting a vote. Officials say they'll try to learn from the situation and adjust ballot estimates for future elections.
And they've played games in London and Brazil. Now, the Green Bay Packers can market internationally. Lisa Hale has more.
The Green Bay Packers are going international, and not just for a game, but on a more permanent basis. The NFL announced Monday that the NFL Global Markets Program has awarded the Packers marketing rights in Germany, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. The Packers selected those three countries due to their existing fan base, cultural fit, and opportunity for further expansion and growth. The team will now pursue activities across their international markets to connect new audiences with Wisconsin's unique charm and Midwestern character.
And a few weeks ago, the Wisconsin DNR fire staff gathered with local fire departments at the new Minong Ranger Station for a structure branch training. This is training for a large forest fire that threatens homes and communities. Now, these trainings happen once a year since the 1980s after the 5 Mile Tower fire burned over 13,000 acres in 1977. Then there was another big one, Oak Lake Fire, that burned nearly 12,000 acres in 1980. And of course, as the weather is warming, Wisconsin DHS officials are reminding us to look out for ticks. They say it's best to use EPA-registered insect repellent, wear long sleeves and pants, and check for ticks after spending time outdoors. It's spring, and that means maple trees across the state are tapped to collect sap.
You really just need the ground to be thawed enough for the roots to give up their sap. And warm weather during the day and cold at night will keep the trees from flooding out too quickly, which gives you a 14 to 21 cook day here in central Wisconsin.
That's Mitch Hoyt. He's got about 6,000 trees on 70 acres in Marathon City, and he's using tubes threaded through the woods which are connected to the tap on the tree. It's a family-owned business called Skinny Sticks, and it began by a hobby that tasted too good to resist.
Some people who bought it from us that year gave some away as gifts, and one of the people that got a gift was Greavy's in Wausau. It's a little kitchen store. They ended up reaching out to me and telling me, hey, we'd like to sell your syrup in our store.
And after hard work and dedication, now he's selling syrup all across the country that's stocked on grocery store shelves.
We discovered there was over 200,000 gallons of maple syrup produced within 25 miles of our home that was being shipped out to Vermont and New Hampshire, or was being blended East Coast and Canadian product that was losing its Wisconsin identity.
That's how he keeps up with demand, keeping it local. And maple syrup is not just for pancakes. Try it as a sweetener in coffee, tea, oatmeal, cereal, and you can even use it in meat glazes.
Around here, in central Wisconsin, up here by Marathon, it's typically, you'll get an undertone of either honey, butter, vanilla, caramel, naturally occurring underneath the maple. And those flavors, like I said, are based on your tree genetics, your soil type.
It's liquid gold found right in our ground. Building a business from the ground up, quite literally. I'm Brittany Merlot for WXCO.
A Badger leaving Wisconsin. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Men's college basketball. Badgers guard John Blackwell says he'll enter the NBA draft. Blackwell says it's his dream to play in the NBA. Now, as a sophomore, if he thinks there isn't enough interest, he can come back and play another year at Wisconsin. He must decide by June 15th. NBA, the Bucks beat the 76ers in Philly, 126-113. Giannis with a triple-double, including a career-high 20 assists, setting an NBA record.
I love handling the ball. You know, I love playing off the ball. When you're a primary ball handler, you just got to keep on making good decisions for the team. I try to make the best decision possible, either for myself or for my teammate.
The Brewers beat the Reds 1-0 at AmFam Field. A good night for catcher William Contreras and pitcher Nasty Nestor Cortez.
I feel like me and Contreras were on the same page all night long. I know we had a bad one in New York, but I felt like we were on the same page the whole time.
That's Nestor Cortez with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. It's week 14 at the box office, and the Minecraft movie is hitting the big screen. That's right, another video game turned movie. The family-friendly film stars Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and Emma Myers. The film has not yet been reviewed. If you're in the mood for a comedy that's not ridiculously silly, check out The Friend, starring Bill Murray and Naomi Watts. Watts plays a teacher, and Bill Murray, her mentor and deceased friend, who leaves her a giant Great Dane. The film is pulling in 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the word on the street is that the Great Dane is an incredible actor. And finally, a movie that sounds really interesting and stars pretty cool guys named Pedro Pascal and Ben Mendelsohn. Action comedy drama Freaky Tales is about a corrupt cop, an NBA star, a female rap duo, teenage punks, neo-Nazis, and a debt collector who are on a collision course in 1987 Oakland, California. I'm curious. The film is pulling a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, so let's go to the movies. Netflix's Adolescence is a ratings champion for the streamer. It tells the story of Jamie, a 13-year-old boy who is arrested for murdering a classmate, and how his family deals with the trauma. Heavy stuff, but very well done all the way around. So well done in tackling controversial issues like toxic masculinity and social media bullying that Variety reports that the UK government feels the show is so important they are making it accessible to UK schools, parents, and teachers. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he watched the show with his teenage children and that it really hit home. Starmer says he thinks as many children and parents as possible should see the show and have discussions about what kids see online so parents can better support them. Starmer calls the show groundbreaking. The 4-part series was created by Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham, who plays Jamie's father. Thorne says they created Adolescence to provoke conversation about a growing crisis. It's certainly done that. If you're looking for a movie to watch and don't feel like leaving the house this weekend, check out Last Breath. The film, starring Woody Harrelson, follows a deep-sea diving crew trying to fix a pipeline on the ocean floor when one of the crew members gets stuck. The rescue mission is fascinating, as is the story about the crew member who goes without oxygen for a prolonged period of time. It will blow your mind. The movie is a quick watch and received excellent reviews. Cannibal enthusiast and actor Armie Hammer's new film will be called Citizen Vigilante after Batman fans and Warner Brothers took issue with the original title, The Dark Knight. They really didn't think that would be an issue? Variety reports Hammer plays a vigilante who takes justice into his own hands and takes down criminals and maybe has them for dinner. I added that last part. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. A nice wrap up to the work week with partly sunny skies, highs near 50, not much wind either. For tonight, maybe a few sprinkles, otherwise mostly cloudy with lows in the mid-30s. On Saturday, increasing sunshine with highs in the upper 40s. Right now, it's 31 degrees.
That's your WXCO Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at bullfallsradio.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.